So one of the first things that we want to teach our dog is a loose lead walk. So getting them to walk the heel nicely. It just means that whenever you take them out with friends or want to walk down the street to the cafe or the pub, then it means that you're not getting dragged down the street and you're like not going to be dreading that little trip. If they're going to be walking nicely by your side, looking up to you for guidance and direction, it makes the walk so much more enjoyable. So we're going to make sure that we put the lead on correctly. So I already had the lead on Geordie here. So I'm just going to take it off just for demonstration purposes. So if we've got them on the left hand side, we always want the string going through the loop on the left hand side. So it should look something like this. So the stopper is always on the side that you're on. If we're on the right hand side, it flips over. It just means that if we pull and put pressure on, obviously it tightens up, but then as soon as we let go, it loosens straight away as well. If we had it on the other side, so if we were holding it like that, it sometimes gets trapped and then it doesn't loosen off. So we always put it on like so. Nice and high and tight around the neck, just where most of the muscle is, and then tighten. And by tight, I mean you can still get at least 3 fingers through the back of it. It's just, you put it there just so it doesn't just keep falling down and sitting around the flat collar. So step 2, we want to stay in a nice low distraction area. So ideally we'd start off at home with obviously the lead on, and then move to the garden, and then move to a low distraction outside area, to then moving gradually into higher distraction areas. So step 3, we actually need to make sure the dog understands the command. So the way that we teach the dog a heel or a loose lead walk is by using the lure, cue, mark, reward. So the lure, we would use a treat to lure them into the heel position. We would then cue that with the heel, mark it with a yes, and then reward with the treat. So an example of that, so I've got a treat here. Geordie's very high food drive, so it makes it very, very easy. So luring him round, so moving him about. So then Geordie, heel, yes, good. So again, luring, and then we're gonna cue the heel, yes, and then reward. So the yes is the mark, and the reward is he gets the treat. So lure, Geordie, heel, yes, and he gets the treat. You'd start doing this in a stationary position, and then you can start gradually increasing the steps. So Geordie, go, heel, and once we've got him here, and then we can do a few steps, a couple of turns, yes, break, and then keep breaking. Next stage is that we just want to maintain the engagement. So obviously I've used a bit of treats there, so he's a bit more engaged with me now, but we can still use the lure. So Geordie, heel, yes, good boy. And then just gradually give him the treat. But then we want to kind of phase that out at some point. So using the slip lead here, once he understands the command, almost imagining there's a circle, imaginary circle to our side. Every time he steps out of that, we just bring him back in. When he stays in there, after a few steps, we'll keep rewarding him. Good. And every time we turn, so if he starts looking away, we're going to turn so that he understands that he's got to be looking at us. Otherwise, he gets pulled back into position. Good. Yes, see how a little bit more engagement now. He's looking up at me. Good. Yes. Good. Yes, and you can do some step backs. Good. And break. But just keep it nice and easy to start with, and loads of breaks. And then the next stage would be doing this at a much higher kind of distraction level, but just increasing it gradually. So going to a place where there's a few dogs, few people, and then as you get a bit better, you can go into like busy cafes, beaches that have got a load of dogs. See if you're able to maintain the same level of engagement. So Geordie thinks birds as a spaniel, just bloody loves birds. So, good, yes. Yes. But if ever the dog starts failing, just draw it back a little bit, just take a step back and then build it back up again. There's no harm in that at all.